You're listening to the Go Lightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net.
Okay, we're back with show 77, and as you can hear, I'm finally getting a hang of running this deck. We've got our normal, brilliant Joel music intro on the play deck, deck 1. Now, Yar's getting his toast and coffee. I've got my coffee. He wants to play every episode, Heiko Sunfire's Christ is Back. He loves it. Heiko's done a great job and he has said it all. So if you guys want to go and get a cup of tea or coffee, need time to do so, that's what we'll do now. I'll set it playing, I'll mute our mic. You shouldn't be able to hear anything that we are saying, but if you do, then it just adds to the amusement of the show. Here it goes.
Said to me, he will send the sun. Who gonna reign on earth as the righteous king? Just said to me, the name of this man, his name is Jesus Christ. He will come. So I said to John, I love you, my father. I want to stay with you forever. And I promised John, I killed the devil within myself. Just a few days later, breaks my last chain. And it took not a long time until I found it on the World Wide Web. A man called Mr. Marshall. And I knew just after watching him for a little while. Christ is back. Christ is back on earth. 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 So turn your back on the devil, man. Who is hurting I and I? the devil man. Oh, if the devil man, the sun will never shine here. And it took not a long time until I found it on the World Wide Web. A man called Mr. Marshall. And I knew just after watching him for a little while. Christ is back. Christ is back on earth. 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 Christ is back. His name is Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall. Christ is back as the Almighty Father. Christ is back. Oh, what a joy, what a joy, oh, what a joy. Christ is back. Christ is back. Oh, rejoice, oh, the children. Whoa, 'cause Christ is back. And the end of the night is near. Whoa, Christ is back. No more separation, no more starvation. Christ is back to break the last chain. Christ is back, 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 back. Oh yeah, oh yeah, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, da 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 da.
There it is. Hello, we're back. It's like flying an aeroplane.
Well,
What's this for? Press give it a go.
Also flying blind.
Flying, oh, totally, yeah.
It's the strangest thing to have such a sophisticated program where you can't listen to it as you're doing it.
Yes, I was wondering, we could test it out later if I try it with the other microphone from the webcam, that microphone, and see if it makes a difference. But anyway, I mean, we're not giving up our U-Butte Yeti microphone. It's professional and all that. And today we're just winging it, literally.
Talk about what happened at Nehemiah. We've looked at it again today, and they are also continuing with blacking out certain of the frames, 10 minutes at a time, then the light comes on again, then it's off again. So this is a physical thing that they're doing, because we have got one frame on the 9th, I think it was, where they had just taken the cover off, and one of the operators is seen walking away from the camera. So they are obviously trying to block us seeing what's going on down there. But we did manage to capture a rather large planet, and from the repeated light source directions and the blacking it out, and then sometimes they miss what's going on, possibly because the Germans are doing it on purpose so that it's obeying their Jewish masters to block it out, but allowing it to slip through occasionally. So what we are seeing at least is 3 sources of light down there from different directions that are orbiting very close to the Earth. So it's really the fulfillment of prophecy. Things that are happening in the heavens, of course, are now seen worldwide if you want to look. We are getting more reports from around the world where light is coming from different directions, and it's causing a great deal of excitement amongst people, that knowing that the end is near. But on the negative side, the Jews are trying to start World War III, which they've been trying to do ever since World War II. Their date now is the 21st of August that they're going to try.
Oh yes, that was the title of a video, that they're going to try to start it by 21st of August. You know, there's so much out there.
But you don't know how much of it is true. We do know that they are trying to do it. To be specific on a date, they would do it in 10 minutes' time if they could. So I wouldn't be too concerned about naming a date of the 21st of August as being the date that they want. But it's very, very close to the world being able to see these gigantic planets that are coming in. And I've spoken about these orbits before, and how the angels are on planets that are coming in.
I just hear the kids cheering for a second.
Are we on yet?
Yeah. No, we're on, but because we can't hear it, I'm just coming in with the kids cheering when you say something about the planets, and then the kids booing as they're trying to start World War III. But we can't hear it. And there was a moment of silence there, guys, after you heard the crowd cheering, because I faded out Heiko Sunfire, came in with the cheering crowd, but I forgot to put the volume back up on the microphone, so there was a minute or two of silence before you heard Yar talking about what is not happening down in Nehemiah today. And he's looking at me with that steely blue gaze that I sometimes give to him. Keep going back.
Any of this gone to air? Or?
Yes, no, all of it. It's all happening. It's all good.
All right, now, leave it alone.
You can see I'm sitting back. I don't have my hands anywhere near it.
Put your hands back behind you.
There we go.
We're talking about serious stuff here, and you're playing with this bloody thing, right? Now, leave it alone. Now, the reality is that we are at the end of this age of terror, and it's going to be a glorious new world that's going to occur on the earth, and there will be people getting marked with the mark of the beast, and they are the Jews. Everything is in reverse. This is the whole point. A lot of the information that you'll find that has been written into the prophecies of Revelation, for example, are put in there by Jews. Right? We will rule with God for 1,000 years. All this bullshit, right? There's only going to be one rule, and no one will be ruling with me. That's it. There's no cooperation here. It is a rod of iron. Right? you'll find that if you read Genesis 49, which is reasonably accurate, and 49, 10, 11, 12, those numbers 49, 10, 11 and 12 are a parable, means parables. That's why, as Jesus I said, everything is said in parables. The word is mashal, right, which translates today to the modern language of marshal. So 49:10 is the word marshal, as is 11, as is 12, and then you go to 13, and then 14 refers to 12. So you've got 5 numbers there that are Genesis 49, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14, all referring to the word marshal. And that is why the Bible has been caused to be allowed to be interfered with by the devil, which is mankind, in high places. So once it's been set in stone, so to speak, where the Bible verses and the Bible words are set, then we can reveal the codes, because they're so dumb that they've called it the word of God when it's the word of the devil. Correct?
That's right. Now, I'll just read Genesis 49:10,
Yes.
and then the meaning of the word 4910. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be.
So what's that mean?
Now, you are Shiloh.
Right. So what's it mean to the first part of it?
The scepter shall not depart from Judah.
Well, Judah ends. That's the whole bloody point.
Yes.
It's only to get you here. Right? So there's no more Judah after that. Shiloh comes, which is Christ the Messiah, which translates into 49:10. The
Yeah.
verse that is
Hebrew Dictionary 4910 Marshal. To rule, have dominion, governor, indeed reign, have power.
Right. So at the moment, we see down at Nehemiah these, and we have witnessed this before, where there's a very large planet coming past, and at the same time, which was predictable from a astronomy point of view, that there would be a super moon at the same time. And we went down to the beach last night, and we've got a short video of the super moon, and of course that reveals distances to the Earth, and it varies in distance from the original astronomy programs, which can predict back in time or forward in time distances to all the planets, because it was based on the assumption that nothing will ever change these positions. So we now know, with that information, that particular program, there's several of them, but Home Planet is very good. Another one is Easy Cosmos, and that's the Carl Sagan program. These give you durations of time over locations, and with it today we know that if the solar system hadn't changed its position in space, or by crossing over the equator line of the Milky Way galaxy, with it we can compare and measure the actual distance that the Earth is tilted. And we do that by, for example, we can take where we are here, and we can look at the duration of time with the new smartphones, which give us the absolute rise and set of individual planets. And then we can take the Home Planet or Easy Cosmos or one of those other programs that I have that will tell you that it's out by 6 minutes. for the sun, for example. So we have to go northward and set a location which is up near Rockhampton to give us the same duration of sunlight that is expected in Tugum today. So we now know that we've crossed over the Milky Way galaxy, equatorial line. That's tilted the planet over. There's also the large planets coming in with the Nibiru dwarf sun. And all these magnetic fields are causing the Earth to go through radical changes. And of course, you know it's true because it's not spoken about on the mainstream media. So you look at the media today and you see there's floods happening, there's sinkholes happening, all these things. And of course, that's prophecy of Jesus, myself, in the New Testament, that there will be earthquakes, etc., in diverse places. So as this is happening now, we now know why, because I'm telling you why. At that time, it was also known that the Earth was moving northward at 69,000 kilometres per hour, being pulled by the sun. Now, what amazes me is that people like Einstein and many brilliant people out there who are astronomers, etc., have no idea and never mention the fact that unless the sun was moving northward at the figure mentioned 69,000 kilometres per hour, then the Earth will be pulled into the sun and burnt up. Because what happens is, as the sun is rocketing away, then it pulls the planets behind it. And this is what causes your tilt of your axis, and what causes the seasons, and which causes the distance to vary from the sun. July the 4th, for example, is furthest from the sun, and January the 4th is closest to the sun. And if the Earth wasn't tilted at the former, 23.5 degrees, then Northern Hemisphere would be getting very, very hot. Because when it's summertime and the tilt of the axis of the Earth is tilted towards, from the Northern Hemisphere's perspective, to the sun, it is furthest from the sun. Now that in itself proves creation, because it is an absolute impossibility if it was left to normal resources of planetary motion that you would be burnt up. But it then is tilted away. Now, when we get to January the 4th, Australia being on the bottom of the Earth, and it's also tilted away at the appropriate moment to make the temperatures reasonable for life to exist. So you've got nice summers in Australia and nice winters. You get in America and Europe, you have nice summers and reasonably cold winters. But it's survivable. This is the whole point. So, because we've crossed over the equatorial line of the Milky Way galaxy on the 11th of December 2011, and that, for those who are not familiar with what I've said before, the reason for the date being that far out, according to the Mayan calendar, which is 100% accurate, that it should have occurred on the 20th to the 21st of December 2012, is that the church, when it set up time, they called the Gregorian calendar in 1582, they added 10 days to the calendar because the sundial was out, so they got that right. But they didn't add in the 365 days between 1 BC and 1 AD. So that means it was 375 days out. So if you add the 375 days, you will come up with the correct numbers. So you go to the Mayan calendar prediction of the 21st of December 2012 and you go backwards in time, it'll give you the 11th of December 2011, 375 days sooner than expected. Now, no one's talking about that either. So I was predicting this because you can prove it by watching the water drain down your sink, and in the Northern Hemisphere now, the rotation of water draining down your sink is counterclockwise, or going backwards to what it was prior to those dates of 2011. In Australia, it's going clockwise. Now, I've been watching the satellite photographs, and they have been doctored up until very recently, where it is now showing that the Coriolis effect in the northern hemisphere is turning the clouds in the opposite direction that it would have done had you been watching, which I have been doing, by the way, for a decade. And what it was, all of the weather is now totally in upheaval. There's earthquakes, because not only is the weather affected by it, by the Coriolis is also affecting the magma beneath the earth. So this is forming sinkholes, and Coriolis is also forming the earthquakes to occur in certain positions, because it's all out of adjustment. It's settling down again. And as we go northward, it will settle down. But we also have to take into consideration that these planets are coming in, and on these planets are the angels that are responsible for building all of these monuments around the earth. And I've mentioned John Gray, who has a book that is available for about $35. It's called $40. It's called Dead Man's Secrets, and he has in it 969 photographs and documentation of these gigantic monuments that were built all around the world. Now, when we were in Egypt, we're going to the Valley of the Kings, which, if you go there, don't go there. It's a complete and utter rip-off. It's a sham. Everything you want to go in to see has got a bloody board across it that they're working on it. So you're lucky to get in to see any of them, but it's a complete and utter rip-off. So, as we go into the Valley of the Kings, there's two gigantic statues that are made of a material like a crystal that is jet black in colour, and the estimates of their weights and distances, how they were brought to there, they're talking something in the neighbourhood of this kind of material is 600 miles away, so call it 1,000 kilometres. And the weight of them, it's very hard to estimate, but I'd say, looking at it, they'd be in the neighbourhood of 600, 700 tonnes. They're placed side by side and basically are identical, and they form like a gateway into the Valley of the Kings. And the Romans went there. When they did so, they decided they'd destroy it. Well, they did their best, but these things are so gigantic and so hard. They did manage to crack off bits and destroy part of it, but of the both of them. But this is the kind of monuments that are around the world. So, what would cause the Romans to go into a nation like Egypt, where there are many of these structures that defy imagination how it could be built and transported, and destroy it? Well, this is the demonic effect. The angels of the past, that were the fallen angels, mated with women. They were giants in those days. Well, the women were giants also, right, because this is pre-flood. Now, the corruption of the human being by mating and producing offspring with demonic angels, because once an angel falls, it becomes demonic. And their offspring reincarnate. So what else has been taken out of your Bible, but is there, if you want to search and look for it, is reincarnation. It's certainly in the book of Job. It's certainly in the Essene Gospels. 96 lessons, lectins they call them in some languages. So if you just Google the Essene 96 lessons, that'll probably find it for you. I haven't done it for a long time. But in it, it talks about Jesus making reference to reincarnation, and the book of Job, and the book of Isaiah, etc. And when you go looking for it in the actual Bible, book of Isaiah or book of Job, it's not there. Hello. Why? Well, I'll tell you a little story. I've been under attack for many, many years. Ever since I was born, I've revealed things that a child should not know to my family, and of course they thought I was nuts. I could see spirits, I could see ghosts. I had the ability to read minds, which is not pleasant, especially when I married my first wife. It was extremely difficult for me to know what she was thinking. To live with it, I don't mean I didn't know. I knew exactly what she was thinking, but the problem was I didn't want to know. Such an evil person she is. So what I was able to do was reveal things and experience a demonic force. Now, you can say there's a spirit among families, and families will adopt a convenient truth of what makes them feel comfortable, especially around people who have the ability to tell truth and are not frightened to do so. And that person can often, and is often, ostracised by the families. Now, I was labelled a bullshit artist by my brother, because he and I were close in that sense that I could read his mind, and I knew what he was thinking, I knew what he was going to say before he said it. And he wanted to pursue a life of child molestation and sexual depravity. And I could read his mind and know what he was thinking, what he was going to do, and what he had done in the past. So I was unfortunately a witness to that, but also when you have people like that around you, they also have their past life demons amongst them. So if you are familiar with the Bible, and there's one where a man who was swept clean of all the demons, or devils, and the prophecy goes on that when a person is garnished clean, that the demons that are cast out, or the devils that are cast out, which are the fallen angels of past lives, they return, and with the one devil, you might say, from the mathematical point of view, is cast out, it brings back 7 others that are worse than itself. So why the 7 number? Well, we're talking, all these prophecies are referring to the end time. So we have a man that has lived 7 times before, he's back here, God comes to the earth not to forgive, but to judge. That's why the verse where it says, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." Well, they do know what they do. So here's the Jesus as a man talking to his soul, which is God within him, and he's saying to God within him, Yahweh, "Forgive them, Father," because that soul is going to be coming back to the earth, and it's going to be in the Christ figure. It's going to have certain predicted characteristics. First off, the most royal man alive. It's got to be that. And it's got to be a man that does not back up. And it's got to be a man that will overcome the demons that are flooding in around him. Now, I'll get to one example that is, we spoke about Ash and I the other day, and I don't know whether I said it on air or not, I've forgotten. However, we was on a farm for 10 weeks, and was looking after for these people that had gone overseas. On the farm, where the lawns had to be kept up, there was a right-on lawnmower, and I was doing the lawns at the front of the house, and there was a tree that a branch had been cut off at about waist high, you might say, and it was sticking out about the length of your forearm, and it was cut off on an angle, sharp. So if you're going to prune a tree, you don't cut it off on an angle where it's sharp, you do it blunt, because you might walk into it, right? So I was cutting the grass around the base of this tree, and then next thing the accelerator pressed down on this lawnmower, and it drove itself under the tree where the sharp piece was sticking out, and it was coming towards my chest. So I grabbed the sharp edge of it and then held it as the machine kept going forward, running under the bush, and then lost traction because I was holding, and I'd say it's 200 to 300 pounds weight was pushing against my chest, and it pushed me back till I was laying almost horizontal, and the seat on the little tractor ride-on mower had springs on it, and it's a plastic mould, and it had been laid out flat, and I'm laying on top of it, and this I'm holding the sharp branch. This is in inches, about 3 to 3.5 inches, about a little over a foot long. So in millimetres, say 75 mil by the length of it, about I don't know, 450 centimetres, something like that. And this thing is right up against my heart. But I've got my hand, and it's bending my wrist back to the point I thought it was going to break, and then I was going to be speared on this thing. So when the tractor couldn't push any harder, because it was starting to push the soil away from under its wheels, I then managed to be able to back it up. So I thought, whoa, that was close, right? And my wrist, I thought it severely strained it, but sprained it. I thought I'd broken it for a moment. So I got off this tractor and I walked in and called Ash out. I said, told her what happened. I said, come out and look at it. When we go out there, the tree had disappeared.
There was no tree in the middle of the garden.
No tree there at all. So, what had happened? The demonic realm dominates the physical realm at this point in time. And its greatest fear is that I will continue to do what I'm doing and expose it and then take over the planet and run it like Adolf Hitler. Because Hitler was the demon's biggest enemy. And of course I will. But the point being is that for that few seconds, the demonic world was able to focus and materialize what is happening at that moment. Now, by the same token, by controlling the media and the churches and so on, the demonic world is able to cause human beings to think in such a way that they manifest the material world as we see it. So what's happening in the demonic world is very real. But with the approach of the angels, that are the same angels that did not fall, they can influence human beings to become back to the level of creativity that was given to you while you are made in my image. Because I can make things happen, but have been reduced to a sliver of the former creativity, because the creation has a promise. And that promise is that you are made in the image of God, and therefore what you dream up can become reality. But you've all, most of all, have been consumed by this demonic realm from childhood. So you are now totally dominated by the televisions, by the movie industry, by the music industry. If you go through where we are, the nearest town to us is called Harvey Bay. Everyone has got tattoos. It's like Sodom and Gomorrah. And we often are bemused by the size and misshapen people that are in this town. So there's a social experiment being carried out worldwide, and each town is targeted by the foods you eat and the environment that these people are brought up in. Now, we spoke yesterday about tap water, which we've been using and putting through a distiller. And this distiller will leave a little bit of the impurities that you get out of your tap water.
On the bottom.
On the bottom. But this last lot, we found that the impurities was built up to a heavy layer of slime, brown slime and crap. And also on the inside edges of the top of the distiller, where the water is being purified as steam and then finds its way under pressure, goes down into the catchment area. You'd never get anything on this area of the distiller, but the steam was leaving a brown residue of whatever it was that was then still making its way into the catchment that is supposed to be purified water. So you go and drink that. And the point is, what are they putting in the water in this small town? And is it universal? We're in Toogan, which is 18 kilometres from Harvey Bay. Are they also doing it in Harvey Bay? Well, probability is yes. There's a strong possibility that they are making certain I get it. But we have ways of getting around it. So I have built, and this is rather interesting, while we was down outside of Sydney, a place called Barrel, there was on eBay a fish tank for sale. And I bought the fish tank because I was going to build my own filtering system where you take water out of the lake, because we're on a lake here, and that's not treated with the chemicals that you get out your tap coming down the street. So as a result of that, when we got the tank, on the bottom of it is the number that is either, and I think probably the person that assembles these tanks, they've got the glass and they've got an aluminium frame, or aluminum as you say in America, and they're silicon all together, and then they put a sticker on it. This is the person who has done that. So if you have a problem with your tank, you quote that number, and they will look into the practices of the person who was assembling it. That's usually how the manufacturers work. They want to know who is maybe making a mistake and sort it out. The number is 888. As you know, that's the number for Jesus. Now, we've just ordered a car, and our car that we've had for many years now water had been put in the fuel tank. It runs on propane, LPG as they say in Australia, and it was interfered with, and other things were done which I'm still trying to sort out. But I got to the point I thought, well, that's it, I've had enough, we'll buy another car. So while I keep one running, I'll have the other one I can work on, because we've got to be able to get to town. As it turns out, we paid $4,990 for it. And the number 4990, will you look it up and just read it, what it is? And normally when you sell a car, you sell it for 4995. Right, that's how it is.
Or even 4999.
Something like that.
You know, the psychological.
It's psychological. It's not $5,000. It's $1 off or $10 off in this case.
However, this one was 4990 from 4982, a deliverer, that is God or Christ, Saviour, in Greek.
Right, now the other vehicle we have is a very beautiful, we call it in Australia, a utility. It's like a pickup truck, but it's much
ute.
sleeker.
ute.
You wouldn't call it a pickup truck. It's the cars they had in America, which I had when I was over there. If you had a pickup truck, it's really a truck with a nice bit of a shape to it. But there were some vehicles, and I've just forgotten the name of them in America, and they're long and sleek and sporty and streamlined, and they've got the back like a pickup truck, but we call it here in Australia utilities. And they evolved into being a sleek looking, beautiful looking thing, right? Well, we have one that the license on it is the date of my mother and father's, stepfather's wedding. So in other words, the car I had before that was my stepbrother's birthday. So when I look back in time and studying all these things, it's always some coincidental number. So what I'm saying to you is this, that you may encounter demonic spirits around you that can manifest themselves in a very serious manner against you, especially if you follow me. Because these things are ancient, they are angelic, they are demonic or fallen angels. They have come back to the earth for judgment. They know that this time there is no further opportunity for these angels to be reborn within a human being's soul as a house of occupation. So, that is why when a person is garnished clean of demons, devils, spirits, they are the former fallen angels that were destroyed off the face of the earth in the flood. Now, the only way back onto the earth for them is for human beings to become evil once again. So these things are in space all around you, in another realm. And given the opportunity, they will enter you. And when they enter you, well,
do you want me to read the verse from Matthew? Okay, it's Matthew 12, begins in 43, goes to 44. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation.
all right, so you've got 3 points there. Wicked generation, the first, we've got 7. You get an opportunity of repentance 7 times over, 7 lifetimes. And each time the demons come back. So therefore, in the end, you started off with 1 demon, you got that out. The next life around, you get 7 more worse, and making a person more wicked than they started off. So you start doing the math. So you got 7, then you got 7 times 7, then you got 7 times 7 times 7, and you go right through. And this wicked generation is because of the humongous amount of demons that you have inherited from past lives. That's why you've got people like George Bush and Obama. Right? They are so evil.
Let's not forget Netanyahu.
And Netanyahu, without any shadow of a doubt, has got to be the epitome of evil. Now, as I have experienced, for example, the manifestation of that tree to get me, they did that. I was just cutting the grass around it. Then suddenly the accelerator was pushed And I was driven into this thing at the exact right moment that would have speared me against this, and I'd have been very seriously injured. Now, I've been seriously injured before, but I always overcome it. They try to kill me, makes me ill, makes me this, makes me that, but I just shrug it off. So I would have overcome that too. But it would have been indeed very unpleasant to have a spear stuck in you. Left side, hello. Where's that happened before?
On the cross.
Exactly. So that's the stage we're at right now, that no matter where you go and try to hide, the demons know where you are. And the only cure for it is the name Yahweh. So you can say, in the name of Jesus Christ, Yahweh, God the Creator, Brian Longavelli, Marshall. You got it covered. Right?
It's a mouthful, but you got it covered. Yes. Catherine's had tremendous success. And
so just saying Jesus, is not quite good enough, because these days the churches are all sprouting their Jesus and they know all about Jesus, but they don't know nothing about Jesus. None of them really have any ability, because I've looked at them all, they're all full of crap. So, manifesting a reality that can be in the form of ghosts, it can be in the form of spirits. I've seen them all. I've lived with people, even in my genetic family, that are so evil. It would be likened to the reason why I was born onto Rothschild Avenue. So this is what we're up against, but it is coming to an end. And as soon as the angels are with us, which is very, very shortly, I can't, or I won't tell you exactly when, because by telling you, I'm telling them. So I just lay back and let it happen. Right? But I can give you this assurance, it's close. And the world will be run like Hitler had envisaged. And if you look at the history of Hitler, and I suggest to everybody who listens to me to study what any speech he made, right? It is full of wisdom and exactly the way that I will be doing it.
Wisdom and truth.
Wisdom and truth. He put the family unit first. Women were protected. Women were not supposed to go to war. Men do the fighting, men do the providing, men do the protection for their families, and men make sure that their children are raised in a way that is godlike. Because you are raising up little gods. Very important to realise that. Now in my family, it's unfortunate, but my offspring, daughters, via the demons that I had to marry, I can't see any hope for them, because this is judgment. Would I welcome daughters that I have seen to do these abominations back onto the earth, to be as a role model for the rest of the earth? Well, they're going to be a role model, all right, because they ain't going to make it. But they will be well known for what they did. It will become public. Right? So I have no secrets. Right? Just that at this moment in time, I'm not going to reveal it to the full extent. Mainly because it's too horrifying. I don't want children to be influenced by it. Even adults, I think, would be sickened. You know, you can be the most experienced person and know all about everything, right? But if you've seen what these daughters of mine did, and my ex-wives did, it is beyond imagination. I could not have dreamed it up, so certainly not coming from me. Comment, my dear?
Well, let's go and see what's... 54 minutes.
That time.
I know.
Drifts away.
Time, yes. I just want to hit the Go Lightly Marshall Hour plug. It's only 8 seconds. Here we go.
The Go Lightly Marshall Hour. on
It's
freedomtalkradio.net.
the plug for the show.
Can you hear
All
us?
right. No. Yes. While we're talking like that, I don't want to mute the microphone again because I might forget it. And yeah. So yes, things are really intense. The events that are occurring in the Middle East. It's very difficult.
The whole world's a stage. Now, what is happening from your point of view and what you are observing is what you are supposed to see. And if you don't react in a positive way to it, you are basically pulling the lever for your own execution.
It really is the sorting out of the souls.
So all these low-life Christians and these Muslims that stand by allowing people to be bombed mercilessly because of some fictitious. But if it was true, if they did fire a rocket or kill 3 Israelis, good on them. Right? 3 less demons. However, for retaliation under the way that they're doing it, because it's all invented, has not the Palestinians all the rights in the world to take axes into Israel and behead every bloody Jew on the planet? They have the perfect right to do that. For
They
what
do.
They have suffered.
However, they won't.
They won't. Because they're lovely people. So to be punished for the alleged crimes of firing a plastic rocket or whatever.
It's like throwing a tuppenny bunger.
Now, we spoke to a man the other day who was in Lebanon as a Lebanese wife in Australia. Quite a famous artist, apparently. And he was setting up a...
Well, he ran a farm there with his
Farm.
wife for 20 years. He was a farmer. He is a farmer.
yeah, but he's also a very famous...
Yeah, spray painter.
Cut this long story short. Because he had plastic pipes, the Israelis bombed
His farm.
his farm and
In
13
Lebanon.
people died. And one little girl had her arms blown off. Now, when we spoke to him, there's no need to say what the demons of the world are. It's the Jews. Now, Hitler has been condemned for saying exactly the same thing. It's the Jews. And what the Germans have suffered at the hands of the Jews, world jury, and look at the reality. Hitler did not declare war on England. England declared war on Germany. Hitler did not declare war on the Jews. The Jews declared war on Hitler. And that was the first. World jury declared war on Hitler before England. Then they had the Germans in the annexed area of Poland that was taken off the Germans during the Versailles Agreement, or demand. It wasn't an agreement. It was, this is what you're going to do and this is what you're going to pay.
it's punishment.
Because Germany had lost the war. But the war itself was started under the pretense. So we have then the Germans today suffering at the hands of the very monsters that caused Hitler to rise up and try to free Germany to a world where righteousness dominated. So we have two of the most vilified men in history, Hitler and Jesus. Now, I'd say they're in the same club, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
The swastika goes back in time to the church, the Catholic Church, that Hitler went to as a child. And it goes back in time
It's ancient.
to Hinduism. And it means peace and love and respect for each other.
Yes, it's like 4 L's. Light, love, laughter, life. We're out of time. Are we going to go out with Heiko again?
Why not?
Okay, just a couple of minutes, and then we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Just said to me, he will send the sun. Who gonna reign on earth as the righteous king? Just said to me, the name of this man, his name is Jesus Christ. He will come back again. So I said to John, I love you, my father. I wanna stay with you forever. And I promised John, I killed the devil within myself. Just a few days later, breaks my last chain. And it took not a long time until I found it on the World Wide Web. A man called Mr. Marshall. And I knew just after watching him for a little while. Christ is back. Christ is back on earth. Christ is back. Christ is back on earth. Christ is back.